This isn't real. What are you doing, Will? If I'm right, you're not really here. This isn't a real phaser. It's all a fantasy. And I'm going to end it no matter what it takes.
But what if it isn't a fantasy? Are you willing to take that chance?
You're right. I won't. But I'm going to find out what's real and what's not.
Will, don't do it!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Craziest Theory, where we take conspiracy theories one step beyond sanity. Will Riker will die. There, I said it, and I'll say it again. When Picard's #1 William T Riker makes his triumphant return in the new Star Trek series, it will only be to take a dirt nap, and I'll explain why. There are two pieces of very telling information that, when put together, paint a picture that spells death for Commander Riker. While at San Diego Comic-Con, Sir Patrick Stewart altered a line from an episode he was about to film to make a point that we never know when our best moment will be, but the original line was, we never know when our last moment will be. Sounds a whole lot like he's talking about a major death in the episode. So, why does that death have to be Will Riker, you ask? Why can't it be Seven, or Worf, or Wesley, or Beverly, or Geordi, or Wesley, or Deanna, or Barclay, or O'Brien, or Wesley, or Wesley, or Wesley? Well, there are a couple of reasons that it is going to be Riker. Firstly, we know from Frakes that the first Riker episode was going to be filmed right after Star Trek Las Vegas, which happened right on the heels of San Diego Comic-Con. So it's probably the same episode. But there is one other reason that Will Riker is more likely to die than any other Star Trek character. There just happens to be an extra Will Riker. Thomas Riker, Maquis terrorist and transporter duplicate, who also has a beef with O'Brien.
I'd heard you were aboard, but I hadn't...
There's nothing to say to you, O'Brien. I think you know why.
His existence makes it possible for the writers to have their cake and eat it too, leaving the door open for Frakes to return. Where with any other character who dies, trying to bring back the actor gets weird and complicated. Just look at Tasha Yar, alternate timeline Tasha Yar. Tasha Yar's half Romulan daughter, and yes, one more alternate timeline Tasha Yar. But with the two Rikers, we don't have that problem. And we have many possible solutions, such as the real Will Riker might die and Frakes could come back as Thomas Riker. Or it might be Thomas Riker who meets Picard in Season 1 and dies. Alternatively, Thomas Riker could have kidnapped and taken the place of the real Will Riker and dies. Or maybe the real Will Riker could be missing and maybe Thomas Riker just assumes his identity and dies. Maybe Will Riker died years ago and Thomas Riker actually survives the series. Or maybe Will Riker is only presumed dead, and Thomas Riker actually dies, or vice versa. But however it shakes down, one thing seems very certain. Will Riker will not survive Star Trek Picard. Is it crazy? Sure, it's crazy. But so is the idea of Thomas Riker. Come on!
Have you ever walked out of a mall into a huge parking area and realized you'd forgotten where you parked your car?
Ever gone mountain biking?
What do you want to be when you grow up? What's the right tip?
Have you called a plumber to your home lately? How superstitious are you?
How much money would it take to make you spend a night in a cemetery? Would you display this as a trophy? Do you have a pet? Do you have a sweet tooth? Do you believe in the power of a curse?
Have you had your hearing tested lately?
Planning a trip soon? Can you remember the tallest man you've ever seen?
Do you love to go a-wandering beneath a clear blue sky?
Have you noticed what big stars real estate agents have become?
Are you careful with your personal records? Does your computer ever seem to have a mind of its own? Have you ever visited a Chinatown section in a major city?
Have you ever visited a flea market? Have you ever visited a truck stop? Did you ever have a job as a waiter?
Have you noticed how many successful restaurants are theme-based these days?
Have you ever had the desire to write your initials in wet cement?